DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Six Nations Rugby wrapped up on the weekend. Our man Chris Jones from Times Online, rugbypass.com. It came down to France versus Scotland, and once again, Chris, we saw the Jocks give it plenty, look as though they were almost in it. That try that got disallowed just before half-time, probably a big momentum swing, as was the non-red card for the headbutt. But in the end, first question, are France worthy winners of that championship this year?
I don't think you can argue about that they have played some absolutely sublime stuff. This Biar Barry, 8 tries on the wing, has been a revelation. He's a superstar, and we need people like him in the game. But there's always going to be a lingering question with the Scots, isn't it? Were they bad, or did they get bad luck? Kinghorn, an elbow on the touchline, and then when is a headbutt not a headbutt? Is it not a headbutt because they were both horizontal?
That's a headbutt.
That one is going to rumble on. But it was a hectic and a fitting end to what has been a good championship. It hasn't been one of the greatest you've ever seen, but because you have to go back to that England-France game where France couldn't hold the ball. I mean, if they'd won that, we've been talking about a grand slam. Yeah. Which really, with their 7-1 split, I wonder where they got that idea from. That 7-1 split on the bench, it's made such a difference. And you know what? What would be fantastic at this point is to see South Africa versus France, 2 of them with 7-1 splits, because boy, did it make a difference for the French.
I think it's opened a lot of eyes down here with that French side. Whichever side they send, it's not going to be that easy. And the All Blacks, we play 3 tests against them, of course, later on in the year. And the French side, without Dupont, they dedicated that to him. Look, they just look really impressive, don't they? They seem to be able to score tries from almost anywhere now. So, just like South Africa, they've got, I think, multi-dimensions to their game.
Yeah, what they've got, of course, is Sean Edwards doing the defence. And, okay, he's going to be really getting into them before they come to New Zealand about the fact that they have conceded some sloppy tries. They work on a basis, that if you score 3, they'll score 6. And quite honestly, it's quite difficult to stop them scoring 6 because they have threats all over the field. And, to see them operating like this without Dupont, when we were portraying them as a one-man team, weren't we? Take Dupont out, that they'll be very average. Well, Luku's come in and done a fantastic job at scrum half, and they've still got Baptiste Serin to come in, who's also having a fantastic season at Toulon. So the depth we've always known is there, is now being seen at international level. And their depth in back row players, it's just going to be fantastic to see their back row guys against your back row guys.
Yeah, what a contest that's going to be. So, yeah, they are worthy winners. The Irish will argue before we get on to England. And again, Ireland, look, they took care of business against Italy, but again, unconvincing. And that has been the word we've talked about right throughout this championship. And this is a team that, when you raise that bar, you expect a lot more of them. And they just, I don't think, are actually playing at the level that they would be happy about. And so it's fine for us to say that, because I'm sure internally in camp that they're saying exactly the same thing.
Absolutely. And it's going to have ramifications for the Lions selection. And we expect, although that they're going to announce the assistant coaches for Australia very soon, and there will be a heavy Irish bias in that, they won't be able to justify as many selections as we first expected at the start of this championship. Because quite honestly, what's been revealed in the championship is this is an old team. And it's almost like the 2003 scenario where England were brilliant in New Zealand and Australia leading up to the World Cup, but they were probably just over that hill and going down the other side, but they hung on long enough to win the World Cup. Ireland, when you look at there's been so many farewell celebrations for big players leaving. Suddenly you're looking at that team thinking, well, hold on a minute. If you take those boys out of it, they don't have an awful lot of experience coming in. And this is going to be a very difficult period for Andy Farrell to deal with Ireland after this championship, because, you've got big names departing, big personalities, and I'm not certain that they've got that quality yet to allow them to maintain their position as they were, the force in Europe until the French came back at them. And, France have a much deeper pool of players, as they always have. And now we're seeing that coming to fruition. and Ireland look a little bare in certain positions.
Yeah, it's all, if, by the way, if you're enjoying listening to this, enjoying watching this, click the subscribe button on the DSPN YouTube channel. We're so close to 5,000 subscribers. It'd be a huge milestone for us, so that would be an enormous help. But you're looking for momentums, aren't you? And I suppose that, France are on the up and they'll be very pleased. The Poms, after pulverising Wales like that, they'll be very pleased. They'll be looking at the fact that they beat France and thinking, okay, it was just that game against Ireland. Yeah, but I just think Ireland are the one side that are probably ending this championship not as happy as they were when they went into it.
I think you're absolutely correct. And I think if you're an Irish fan, you will be a little bit concerned at the way things tailed off in terms of the quality of the performance.
Yeah.
They didn't pick Prendergast. He had a bit of a knee problem. They put Crowley in. He played all right, but they started Bundy Aki on the bench. Well, Bundy's been an absolute revelation again this season because of his sheer physicality. And Gary Ringrose is picked, and he's gone backwards at a rate of knots. He was meant to be one of the Lions' shoo-ins for centre, but he's going to be lucky to make the tour if he keeps on playing like this. There are a lot of other good centres around, most notably Hugh Jones at Scotland. And so you look at Ireland and think, well, if you're doing losers and winners in this championship, they've got more losers in terms of players' reputations than winners.
All right, well, what about England then? And yes, it was narrow against Scotland. Yes, it was narrow against France, but the only team to beat France. They lost to Ireland, and again, they got those 2 late tries, which kind of flattered the scoreline, but they were leading at half-time in that game. Now they turn around and it was just awful to watch in the end. I felt it was kind of uncomfortable the way that they were scoring tries against Wales. But where are they at exactly? And what has Borthwick done to the side? Is that the real England we saw against Wales, for example?
You've got to temper this with the opposition. Okay. And as a Welshman, I can tell you you're intruding on personal grief here, because that really was terrible to watch.
Painful.
Warren had to walk away, and they gave it to Sherratt as a stand-in coach, and he was asked in the press conference afterwards, have you reconsidered your idea of continuing in this role? And his answer was an emphatic no, because who would want to take on this role? You've got so many young players with variable amounts of confidence, and whatever confidence was there is going to be absolutely shattered after that performance. To be associated with the second highest defeat Wales have ever had, the 90 points they conceded in South Africa is the worst. This was the heaviest defeat in Cardiff for a Welsh side. These are records that don't easily slip away, and certainly don't slip off the tongue very easily. They stick in the craw, and it's a real problem for Wales. So therefore, when you look at England, were they world beaters? They were very good, and certain players, show that they are going to be excellent, probably on the Australian tour. People like Ben Curry really came of age because he's obviously been in the shadow of his twin brother Tom. They played really well, but Wales, honestly, that was in many ways an insipid performance, because they let too many easy tries in. There were people leaving the stadium after 60-odd minutes. I mean, that's unheard of.
No.
I know there's a lot of pubs to go to in Cardiff, but really, that's very early.
Look, and, Justin Marshall has talked about that us a lot, and so has Murray Mexted, about these records that the All Blacks have had, that, once you lose the 100-year record against Ireland, once you lose the 100-year record against Argentina, you don't get these things back. They don't come back again. You've got to wait another 5 generations if you are ever going to get it back. So, Wales is that 17 in a row now. You know that. It's suffering. Really suffering. It's not a good thing. I'm not celebrating this. No one in world rugby is celebrating this. Maybe the closest rivals might celebrate it, but it's sad more than anything else. That's how I feel about it.
It is. Look, and you look at the team and say, is it the players' problems? Well, it's much broader than this. It's the Welsh Rugby Union has been mishandling the whole situation of what used to be the national sport. Football now is so much stronger in many areas of Wales, because the Welsh rugby team has been a disaster to watch, and the passion was there beforehand. The singing was fantastic. It was all set up for Wales to build on the small green shoots we'd seen in a couple of the previous performances. But boy, those shoots withered away too quickly. And how do you regrow them? Well, the game itself is in desperate need of growing in Wales. It's been stagnating for too long. It's going to require root and branch work. And you have to ask, have we got the quality of people in place to do that? Well, we're going to be hearing about a new coach arriving. The name of Checker keeps being put forward. I don't know how the Blazers in Wales will deal with someone like Michael Cheika, because he is not going to stand for some of the rubbish they've been spouting.
Well, it was a fantastic competition again, and, we love the fact that you guys love it. You play it up there. Obviously, it's not quite the quality of the Rugby Championship down this part of the world, and the two best teams in the world are South Africa and the All Blacks. I think we can both acknowledge that freely, can't we?
Did you not see France playing? Look, you guys are going to have a fantastic series with France, and there's
a bummer they're not bringing the
great
best
chance you won't be having every single one of the best 15 of France, but they still will give you a lot of trouble, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the top teams from the north playing the top teams in the south, and there being real battles to stir the souls and get people watching, and particularly people who occasionally watch rugby. And it would just be great to have a 1-1 tied series going into the third one. That's what we want for the Lions. With Australia, we don't want a 0-2 either way. You want to have those marvellous moments that get people talking about, when are you going to be watching the game? Coming around we'll watch this game together because we want to see how this develops. This is what rugby's about. And that passion, which was so evidently missing at the end of the game in Cardiff, from the Welsh fans, that was just desperation. We want that rekindled, and if Wales might get one or two players on the Lions tour, but if the Lions can do well, you never know. A couple of those Welsh players might actually come back, learning how to win again, and that would be a help. And I'm sure the same feeling will be from the French if they can just start winning down under again. Boy, would that send them flying into the next World Cup.
DSPN.